Mr. Allard's neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, how are y'all doing today? Back in the saddle today. Missed y'all Monday, and now we're back. We're going to talk to Allison Smith, Elizabeth Pena, right?
Davidson.
Oh. I thought I wanted to think Pena. I think there was somebody else by that name on the show a couple of months ago. I don't know. I'm getting delirious. I'm getting old. I stayed up last night watching the hockey, and that's too late for an old man like me. You know, you had a condiment schedule. Elizabeth
Davidson. You're good.
Elizabeth. All right, we'll just call you Elizabeth. Anyway, they work for the Parks and Rec, and they're going to talk about the big weekend coming up. They are. It's a big deal. You know, it got the carnival coming back, and it's going to be in Old Town again, right?
Yes.
I remember it 2 years ago. It really was kind of fun. You know, it was a very hometown thing. I really enjoyed it. Last year, I had conflicts on that weekend. So wasn't it at Chisenhall last year?
Yes.
All right. So what made y'all decide to come back to Old Town?
You want to take it?
Yeah, either one. Yeah, either one. You know, you jump on in, ladies.
Yes. So, the only reason we moved it to Chisenhall in the first place was because of the construction that was taking place in Old Town.
Okay, that makes sense.
But Old Town just provides this entire energy and vibe with the carnival. It's kind of the heart, the living room of Burleson.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
exactly right.
Like family and community is kind of what.
You know, and that's true, and I think it's better in a sense. I know probably being out at the baseball field, it was more convenient for some, but I think having that Old Town feel. I remember walking around. I mean, I'm kind of old for the rides and all this other stuff, but I was walking around with my wife, and it did remind us of when we were younger, when we were kids. You know, and that kind of thing. We saw a lot of kids doing the rides and the events and stuff. And I just thought, man, this is why people move to towns like Burleson, is these kind of events.
That's right.
You know, and in fact, I have a friend that's thinking about moving to Burleson. He's coming that weekend to look at houses. I'm going to drag him by Old Town, and I think that's going to help sell the town to him.
Yeah.
You know, and because he'll see that kind of nostalgic thing that we still try to incorporate in our town. But before we jump into all those details, let's talk about the sponsors, because they make all this possible. You may know some of these. You probably have patronized some of these, such as Our Place over off the highway, and also there's a new one just right down the road from us here, Our Place 2. I'm sure y'all been to Our Place more than once. You got kids, both of you do. You have been there. Also, Gina's Pizza is always, I really like going there, because not just because the pizza's good, it is good, but it's also a nice, comfortable atmosphere to do business, or particularly during the summertime, you go there and they have the ball game on, or whatever sporting event, you can have pizza and a beer, and it's a good place to go do that. So thank you. By the way, Otto is going to be a guest on Monday. He's hard to pin down, but we're going to get him on the air, and we're going to talk about what's going on in the world of culinary arts, I suppose. Also, this is another hometown business, Old Pro Roofing. They're down in Old Town. Old Pro Roofing with John Williams, 817-734-2756. Have your roof checked out this summer. I'm going to have him check it out this June, like I do every June, because the time to have him checked is not when it's raining. And, you know, you need to know. And he'll tell you what's going on with the roof. If it's needs repair, needs a new roof, it's good to go. You know, he'll tell you the truth about the roof, I guess, is his motto that I made for him. But anyway, I just made that up for him. 817-734-2756. Also, we were talking about real estate just a minute ago. Here's our friend Jeff Kelly at the Wethington Agency. If you're looking to buy in this area, he's a good guy to talk to, because he knows all the ins and outs. He does a lot of business in Joshua, which is where you're from, right?
Yes.
All right. Are you from Burleson too, or from?
No.
Where'd you come from?
I came from the Panhandle, so Lubbock.
Oh, Lubbock. Sorry. No, I'm a Baylor guy, so Lubbock, you know, I associate that with tech and all this other stuff. But no, Lubbock's fine. I mean, I know people that come from Lubbock love it there. They love Lubbock. I don't know what they say about Waco too. But sorry, Jeff, we got distracted. 817-781-0546 or Jeff at jeffkellyrealty.com. Give him a holler again, 817-781-0546, and he'll help you find a place here in Johnson County. He sells all over the county, but primarily in Burleson and Joshua Godley, which is also blowing up and things like that. Pretty soon we're going to have like our own little metroplex here. So, yeah, Well, if I've lived here since '91, and it's certainly changed quite a bit. And so there you go. Also, Hot Works off of John Jones over by Kroger, the theater. You know, Burleson Commons, I think, is what they call that little shopping complex. Anyway, Michelle really does a good job with her clients. You shaking your head?
Michelle's great.
You know this place.
Yeah.
How it's good.
Actually, we work with Hot Works on a lot of our events.
Right.
So they're wonderful.
Yeah, Michelle knows what she's talking about. And so if you're looking for a certain type of results, but you don't really know exactly how to get there, she'll help you get the right routine. There's 11 different ones to choose from. And if you just want to try them all and work through the cycle, it's a great thing. And it's 24/7 with security and whatnot. I mean, you have a code lock in and all this other stuff. So it's a pretty secure place to go there. And they got trained personnel. These aren't just some people she hired off the street. These people have training and all this. So go by Hot Works if you're looking for some summertime workouts. Also, Local Life Magazine. You probably know Tiffany Jane. She does a lot of stuff with the city. Magazine comes out, right at the middle of the month. It always comes out in the early part of the month, like the second or third day practically. And they're doing a lot of women in business profiles on her website and on the magazine itself. So if you're looking to advertise, it goes to 30,000 homes. And, every time I go to like Auto's Place or, get my oil changed or whatever else, there's always, extra copies for you to peruse while they do your thing and so whatnot. So give her a call. Also, one more. There you go, Burleson Buzz. Cody O'Brien. He does a lot of the reporting on the city council stuff and school board stuff, things like that. He's been kind of out of pocket now because he's a new father or second-time father. And so now he's getting back in the saddle. So be checking it out for reports of the next city council meeting, which I believe is next Monday. Do you have to go to those meetings?
Sometimes.
And they're exciting, aren't they?
Sometimes.
Oh, well, not as much as they used to be. And that's what I was telling the mayor last time I was on the show. Thank you for making government boring again, because government really is supposed to be boring.
Yeah.
It's process and procedure, and you know the drill. And, when I was in the school system, I couldn't buy a pencil without process and procedure. And it's probably the same for the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and nothing gets done in the first meeting and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You have to be pretty patient to work for a public entity like the city or the schools or whatever else.
You do.
Because you don't do anything fast.
You don't.
But then again, if you do, there's going to be some sort of consequence, you might say.
Yeah, we can move quick on some things, but I mean, the procedures are necessary.
Well, let's say you wanted a new park or some new space. It's not going to be done in a week. So
Right. I mean, our community engagement takes longer than a week.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Cody. I use his news on my radio station for weekly events and things of that nature. And my friend Al Warner at Bass Printing, our newest sponsor, he's over at the Hub, which is on Renfro, across the street from Old South, next to that 1611 golf place. And I've been there too. It's pretty nice. But he'll do all the promotional work you'll need. He's the only printer you ever need, is what his motto is. And they'll business cards to hats to shirts to cups to pens, pencils, table coverings, you name it. He could do just about everything. So call Al, give him a holler I'll find his phone number. There it is, 817-616-8761, or at Alrick, it's ALRICK, Alrick at bassprinting.com, and he'll get you set up. I've used him before for other materials, a lot of my promotional materials, and I'm very happy with the quality and the timeliness, so it's not a problem at all. Yes, he did ask me to do this. I forgot. It's 25% off the shipping. So if you give him a call at 817-616-8761, he can work out a deal for you. All right, let's talk about, what would you like to talk about first? The downtown?
Let's talk about Honey Tour.
The Honey Tour. Now, again, I know the chamber runs it, but it's not separate, really. Y'all are coordinating with each other on this. It isn't like, we doggone it, we put it on the same day. That was intentional, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, there's two components to the Honey Tour. So the chamber does the bike ride component, and then we do the carnival component.
Right. And y'all coordinated to make sure it seems like a unified effort. Because I was talking to Melissa Miller about this a couple of weeks ago. when she was on the show, and she made it pretty clear the city handles the carnival, and what the thing I think about the logistics of that, particularly at downtown, you're going to need the cooperation of a lot of people to get that done.
Yeah.
A lot of the businesses. Now these businesses are open during the carnival, right?
Most
Yes,
will
most of
will be open. Yeah.
Well, I mean, which ones are closed? I mean, the restaurants will be open certainly.
Yes.
The bars, if there are any. We don't really have a lot of bars, but we have a lot of restaurants with bars.
There's some boutiques, salon.
They may just adjust their hours a little so that their customers can still enjoy their offerings, but where it's not putting a lot of people out. So
Yeah, but it's got to be attracting a lot of people to their area of business.
most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people down there. I remember a couple of years ago, it wasn't like elbow to elbow, but it was well attended. I'll put it that way. And there was, I went there. Let's see, on a Friday evening, and there were some places that normally would be closed at 6 that were still open. And then, of course, all the restaurants and the coffee shops and whatever else, they stayed open later too. And I thought that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. I mean, that is like a win for us. If the people that we're bringing to the location will go into those Old Town businesses.
Well, I've lived here, like I said, since 91. In Old Town back in the day, I'm now qualified to be an old timer. Back in the day, there was the Big Four appliance store. There was Odom's Barbecue, which I really liked. I went there all the time. And that's all I can remember off the top of my head. They didn't have Grooms, so they didn't have Daydream Coffee, which I just came from, by the way. I always promote that because it's owned by a family of a former student of mine. They didn't have Babes. They didn't none of that. Okay. And then all the other stuff that's come in around with the Vera Calvin Plaza there. It really has made Burleson a town in which you don't have to leave it to do things, and that's a good thing. I know Josh was trying to do that too.
Yeah, they've got a little Old Town area on Main Street.
They got a restaurant. I've been there. I'm trying to the Hickory Tree.
Yeah.
I've been there, and there's a Mexican food joint. I can't remember the name top of my head.
La Mesa.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
It's right. It's on the same strip area. So and Crowley's trying to do that. Last night I was in McKinney. Have you ever been up there?
It's been a while for me.
Well, then you'll be surprised because I grew up in Collin County, but McKinney was just some dumpy old town, and now they get this really nice center town around the courthouse. And Burleson, I think in this area is taking the lead in developing this kind of atmosphere. We talk about it with Alex Phillips all the time.
Yeah.
So you don't really have any real pushback from the business community about putting the carnival downtown because it is kind of inconvenient, I guess. I mean, it's taking up some of the parking and things of that nature. But
yeah, I mean, we do outreach for all of the businesses out there. Starting in January, we did this year, kind of going door to door, letting them know that it's coming back and kind of the logistics, where's parking going to be, what roads are going to be closed. And there are some businesses that it will impact them, not necessarily in the most positive way. And so we work with them. How can we make this work for you?
What's their biggest objection?
Well, like
I would mention parking, but that's just I'm just guessing.
Well, if it's not a restaurant, like a business like the salon, for example, they aren't necessarily getting walk-ins. Yeah. If they have a well-established customer base, then they're having to really flex their schedules and kind of work around the carnival.
But it starts on Thursday, right? Next week?
It starts on Thursday, but we will start road closures on Tuesday.
Oh, I did not know that.
To set up.
Yes.
That's important information, vast listening audience. I did not know that. I thought you'd start closing the roads about Thursday afternoon.
No, so when
of course you have to set up. What am I thinking?
Yes, built like the Ferris wheel and the all the big rides. Those have to start.
Well, that wasn't very smart of me. Of course, it takes some more. It's not like you can just throw it out there. You got to put it all together, take it up, take it down.
Yeah. It takes longer to set up than it does to tear down.
Yep.
But so starting Tuesday, those road closures will take place, and We have kind of made plans for some of those businesses so that we can accommodate parking through Thursday afternoon and that kind of thing. But
I remember a lot of the parking was at First Baptist.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
They're actually one of our in-kind sponsors. So you mentioned sponsors, but we also have an additional 17 specifically for the carnival, and a lot of those businesses are our local businesses down the Plaza Old Town area.
So they're helping promote this. You want to throw out a few names?
Yeah, so there's Pandan. We have Grumps. We have Old South. First Baptist Church.
That's my church. Yes.
And so a lot of them work with us to be able to provide meals for all of our event staff and our volunteers that assist during that week. So we're super grateful for them. I think we have a total of 17 sponsors, and most of them are local to the Old Town area.
Yeah, sure.
So they definitely help us out for the carnival.
Well, that does help, and I hope they get proper signage, so to speak. So they get the. I know they do this not just for the credit, but they deserve getting the credit.
Yep.
But that's good. And I've talked to a lot of nonprofits on the show. I've talked to a lot of city folks on the show, and they said that and the chamber people too, they get a lot of help from the city or from the community businesses. There's a spirit of cooperation and pitching in to make the city better, and you don't see that in every city. All right, Joshua here is good too. I'm not, but I know of hear of other cities where the civic involvement it's like pulling teeth, and y'all I know get a lot of response, and so does when the nonprofits put their things on. They get a lot of help from not just the city but the community itself. It makes what Burleson a community you want to live in, and and it wasn't this didn't go on back in 1991, but we didn't have Vera Calvin Plaza. We didn't have Old Town much more than what I just described. We had 3 places to eat that weren't either fast food or something like that, sit down places. Now they're all over.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good deal. So back to the matter at hand. So the carnival starts setting up about Tuesday noonish morning, whatever.
Tuesday morning, yeah.
Tuesday morning, okay. And when is the carnival itself open? When are the rides going to be open? That's what the kids all want to know.
That will be Thursday. Will be our soft opening, so it'll kick off at 5 p.m. I'm sorry.
Well, 5 a.m. would be fine too. There'll be people waiting.
Yes. Yeah. So the last day of school for BISD will be when the carnival opens.
That's nice coincidence, isn't it? I know they get off early that day.
Yeah, half day.
Well, the teachers don't doggone it, but that's all right. It's a lot quieter in the afternoon. But anyway, so it's a good day to have it. The last day of school kind of gives it that opening to summer thing. And
Yeah, big summer kickoff.
Yeah.
like I've talked about many times on the show, how many years I taught at BISD, I could tell you who's looking forward more to the last day of school. And I could tell you at the early August who's looking more forward to the beginning of school. That would be the parents. They come to me and say, when is school starting? I'm so tired of these kids. And you have 6, right? How many are in school?
All of them, actually.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right. That's great.
From 11 to 24 years old. Yes.
And you have a young kid and a child,
Yes.
daughter, and
Yes,
in a
one
school.
in school and one in childcare.
Oh boy. Yeah. The good old days. But anyway, but that's going to be great. And so it's at 5:00 on Friday as well, or is
Friday
it all day?
will be 12, so noon. Since school's out,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
I'll
And
put-
that day is actually our Hot Sounds of Summer kickoff as well. So we've combined the two.
Good idea.
With the carnival and the Hot Sounds.
Who's playing?
The first will be Elevation. Yeah, so
I'm not familiar with them.
it's like a variety band.
Oh, okay.
It's a sister band of Emerald City, which we've had before in the
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So carnival, concert. Oh man, we got
Honey
it
Tour
going
bike
on.
ride.
Oh, yeah. And Saturday, I'm sure it's all day, and Sunday it's all day. I'm sure. I'm hoping it's not 98 degrees those days. I mean, this weather we're having today is ridiculous for May. It'd be nice if it's a little bit warm, but not too hot, and all this. We'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can order up.
Just a cool breeze would be nice.
Yeah. Well, and then you also, besides rides, you also have vendors of various kinds. Now, do you handle the vendors, or does the carnival people? I know the carnival's a private enterprise that y'all have hired and all that. It's not like we have a storage place for the Ferris wheel in the city. But you hired them out, but as far as the vendors and all this other stuff, who takes care of that? Do y'all do that?
So our event team reaches out to local vendors to be a part of the event. And this year we have 40.
Yeah.
And they will be out there Saturday and Sunday.
So what kind of vendors are we talking about? I'm envisioning like food trucks and things like that.
So we do have a few food trucks that are local as well. They'll be out there for the 4 days. The carnival does bring out some of their own food vendors. But as far as in like product marketing, like businesses, those are Saturday and Sunday. You're talking from jewelry to crochet to 3D printing, baked goods. So we'll have all those vendors out.
What about the farmers market? What's going to happen with it? Are they moving or are they taking a week off? Or
They're
what?
going to take the weekend off.
Okay, well, good for them.
And we work very heavily with them as well the past 2 years. So this year they decided to take the weekend off and let us kind of take over that weekend for our vendors. So we collaborate with them, and a lot of the vendors that will be at the carnival that weekend are also some of our farmers market.
Are y'all still taking vendors?
We are actually full.
Full, okay.
Capped out. Yes.
No, that's too bad.
I've worked with a few that were able to squeeze in, so that was nice to be able to accommodate that.
What I remember from the vendors, going through it 2 years ago, there was some local businesses that had like, their tents and stuff like that, and then had the products that it kind of resembled the farmer's market in a way, with the products and some food products. But I also saw like a couple of, I guess they were associated. I don't know if they're associated with the carnival or if they just follow this kind of thing around, but they're like selling drinks of some sort or snow cones and things like that, So I didn't know if that was part of like a private thing or they're part of the carnival, but now I know. Okay, so they bring their own sometimes, huh?
Yeah.
And they travel around all over the place doing this. How did you hook up with them? I mean, is it just when you first did this, you had to go find somebody, right?
Yeah, so whenever our director, Jen Basham, came to Burleson, she had come from Stephenville, and so she had worked with this vendor before in the past. And so she had a good working relationship with this company and kind of planted the seed with our team, and we ran with it.
So how long does it take to plan this thing? This isn't something you'll pop together in late April and something like that. Y'all probably work on it half the year at least.
Yes, about 6 months total. And even so, when the carnival's up, we're already looking at next year's dates, trying to organize that.
Friend of y'all's, Jasmine Johnson. I know her. She's from the Center for ASD.
She is.
She's up on the screen if you want to say hey.
That is my daughter.
Hey, Jasmine.
Hi, Jasmine.
Are you serious? Really? She's been on the show several times. Yeah, along with Lisa. And how about that? That's your daughter?
Yes.
That's the 24-year-old you're talking about?
That is my 24-year-old.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't even make that connection at all. Well, now I know. I'll probably have her on the show, I think in June, along with Lisa. They're going to talk about what's going on with their situation or their facility situation. And I'll just let them answer that question. I'm not going to pry too much. But they just, in fact, just had a big open house the last couple of days. Did you go to that?
Which one was it?
It was Center for ASD. They had open house Tuesdays.
Open house, I did not. They did do their Light Up the Night event with us in April, which we collaborate and do that, but not the open house. I did not.
Well, I couldn't go either. I'm afraid I was gone Wednesday and Tuesday for family stuff. Anyway, it's another story. But so when do y'all start really putting this thing together? By January, December?
Before January, I mean, and January is when we really need to have some of our details together so we can start working with the businesses. So we've got to kind of start before that.
Do you have to do it in person, or do you? I'm sure because business owners are notoriously derelict and opening their mail sometimes. You might say, I've sent out mailers like, "Hello out there," there's a stamp I wasted, but. Anyway, so you have to go like door to door, and
we do, yeah.
Oh,
myself and a few of our event team members, we go to each business and just make that conversation and connection, and that's when we start working through any accommodations that we need to.
I would imagine the first time you did this, I wonder what the reaction was.
I think everyone was a little apprehensive.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember talking to. I think it was Alex. I'm not quite sure, but it was somebody from the city a couple of years ago, and they said that they had some, that they want to cooperate, they want to be part of the city and all this other stuff and help them out, but is this going to hurt me? And I get it as a as a business owner, we got to respect that, and so. So now it's probably a little easier. These event team members, are they employees or are they volunteers?
They work for the city.
Okay,
So
okay.
we have 5 event team members and then myself. And so a few of us will go out and then just kind of go door to door, as you said.
Just go knocking on the door, say, we're going to be putting a tilt-a-whirl right in front of you, or that kind of thing. Or we're going to, put whatever other rides in, so just get your mind right. I wonder if they request certain rides to be near them. Joe Laster, is that a friend of y'all's?
Yes.
Yeah, does he work for the city?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep. He's a big piece to the carnival as well. He helps us do all the EAP and emergency action.
Oh, yeah.
items.
I guess you have to coordinate with the police. Are you going to
Yes.
have those volunteers, those cops volunteers?
The COPs, yes.
Yes.
They will be out there. They
Yeah.
are another big piece.
Yes. I've had them on the show. Well, it's been a little while, a couple of years, and that's a pretty nice little adjunct to have with the
Yes.
city. They do. I've seen them quite often at the Yellow Vests, at the the Friday night events, or if you have special events going on.
They go to all of our large events, including Hot Sounds. They're there every week.
Who's in charge of the Hot Sounds crew?
We
Y'all
are.
So all the ones that get the musical acts and all this.
Yes.
And so have you ever tried calling up, I don't know, Rolling Stones, see what they're doing?
I gave them a call. They didn't answer.
See, there they go.
A little bit out of our budget.
How does one get that gig? I mean, it can't be just some garage band pickup bunch. I mean, they got to have to have some sort of credibility. How do you find those?
All kinds of ways.
Yeah.
There's people that will send us links and say, hey, have you heard this band? Or we may attend an event at another city and see a band.
We have the economic development department. We reach out to them because they have quite a bit of connections. Sometimes I just get an email from somebody in the community, and then we kind of research it that way as well.
Well, I just was wondering if, I would figure some of these bands would be hitting y'all up, whatnot. What's your criteria for booking a band for the Hot Sounds?
We really try to provide a variety. So we don't want to have country every Friday, though that may be the most, sought after for some. We really try to change it up.
So I've been there a couple of times where they've had one that was like a knockoff, if you will, of Casey and the Sunshine Band, disco kind of stuff in the 70s. And another time I was there, it was rock standards, you might say, and that kind of thing. I know also, what was it, in October, y'all did something with Mardi Gras, and you had some sort of a band associated with that. Is that right?
In October, we probably had our
Not Mardi Gras, but it was
Cool Sounds of...
Yeah, it was Cool Sounds of Fall.
Yeah, okay.
Usually for those, we do, we try to connect with some of our local bands. So for Honey Tour, we do a lot of local. So all 4 days we'll have some kind of band playing that we have the 7-6 band, who's Mike Purdue,
Right,
who will come out.
He's
We
going to be
have-
on the show in June.
Yeah. So Wilder Wilson, he's local as well. Austin Seals, Garrett Glover. So all of them will be out for a Honey Tour, and that's kind of how we choose our Honey Tour bands.
How about my friend Susie Morgan? She's around a lot. Susie Morgan and her husband, and Susie and the Sissies.
Yes, we had them out last year.
Yeah, that's her band, and then she and her husband do duets for Otto's on Sunday night and stuff like that. But that's good that you promote the local, because there's a lot of local music out here.
Yes.
More than you might think. And, again, on Sunday nights over at our place, they have a lot of local. Usually it's either duets or duos or single, because, it's not a real big place, but it's a good place to do a Gina's Pizzas, where I'm being specific. And I'm glad that y'all do promote the local scene, because that adds to it a lot. Because we've got a lot of talent in this town.
Yes, we do.
Everybody associates us with Kelly Clarkson, but I can tell you there's a lot of people here that, have their share of talent as well. Anyway, I kind of got distracted, but anyway, I tell you what really made the city work for me, for a lot of people, was that plaza. because when they had the farmers market, it was in the parking lot.
Yes.
All right, and as far as like city events, I know they had a couple of them in the Baptist church parking lot and stuff like that, and they had a couple in open spaces, but they didn't have like a dedicated space like they do at this plaza. That's probably made your job, I wouldn't say easier, but it's made it more attractive for other possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does Joshua have that, or are they trying to get something like that? Because Joshua's not the same kind of town geographically as we are.
Yeah, I haven't heard of anything.
Well, maybe you can put a bug in your ear. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, that plaza really, I think, is one of the best civic endeavors we put together.
Yes.
Because that farmers market's amazing. And I know they're trying to duplicate that here in Crowley. And Crowley, I fully believe, is trying to. They looked at Burleson and said, "Hey, we got to get a piece of what they're doing," and so they've been trying to doll up here, Main Street and whatnot. They recruited Otto for that other our place to put one there and that kind of thing. But I'm getting off the track again. So anyway, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, all day Saturday and Sunday. All day. Well, noon is it? What time is it open on Saturday, Sunday?
It's noon on Saturday, and on Sunday it's 2 p.m.
Okay. Well, because the church parking lot's going to be busy. I mean, I'll be there taking up a space. So what time does it close?
So Friday through Sunday, 11 p.m. And Thursday, with it being our soft opening, it'll be 5 to 10.
5 to 10. Well, I went there, and on Friday it was early evening, but they'd already started to light up things, right? And I thought, boy, this really is a good idea. I don't know who thought it up. I'll give you all the credit for that. And I already thought this was a good idea, and I talked to several people over the next couple of weeks that had small children. They'd loved it, because they could run around. Now, if I recall, they buy tickets and they use those to get on the rides and such as that, right? Or if the vendor, private vendors use those tickets as well? Or is it just pay cash and whatnot? Do you have to have tickets to do everything, or just for the rides?
The tickets are for the rides, which they average between 3 and 7 tickets per ride. And then you could do an all-day wristband for all of the rides for $30. The games, a few of them take cash only, so you would pay to play the game. And then, of course, the food vendors, it's cash or card.
Now, these are typical carnival games, right? Like skee ball and knocking down the bowling pins and stuff like that.
Yeah, or throwing the ring around the bottle. Or
I actually did that one time and won.
Oh.
At the state fair. It's like, whatever, and pitching out. Hey, I won. I had to carry around this
big stuffed animal.
Yes. Yeah, and it's like, what a deal. I wish I hadn't won, because it's like I have to have 2 seats on every ride ever since. And I'm like 15 years old. What am I going to do with a stuffed animal? But whatever. Yeah. I would just wasting time, and 25 cents at the time, or 50 cents. Now it's, I'm sure, a bit more. I didn't really mess around with the games last time I went there. I mean, I checked them out just to see what they were, but I didn't participate. But so you get a wristband for $30. That's probably your best deal, wouldn't you think?
Yes.
Do you have like a big family package or something like that? Like, it's all you all out there. 6 kids and your husband and just something like 8 wristbands. Well, we're talking about an investment now.
Yes.
Yeah,
we rock, paper, scissors, and only one of them gets to go. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you were the best behaved the last month, right? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it definitely adds up. But I think if you go early enough and spend the day there, you definitely get your money's worth and enjoy the whole day.
If you buy a wristband, say at noon, and you do some stuff, and then go home at 3, can you come back at 5 and still use that same wristband?
Yes.
Okay. So it isn't like once you leave, you have to pay to get back in.
And that's what's nice, is because if you go out there early, you start riding rides, and you and your family want to go over to like one of the local businesses and have a dinner, come back and finish out your night.
Or if you don't want to be in the heat of the day, if it is a hot day, you can go and say, okay, we'll go from, go till about noontime, and then we'll come back in the evening time. So, but again, if you just hang on to that wristband or your tickets, or you're good to go. And so it's not, because some of these places aren't, you leave the place, you got to pay to get back in and that kind of thing. Yeah. Here's something that I don't know if y'all had to consider, but some of these places that we're going to be doing it sell alcohol. I mean, and so you're going to have to keep a pretty close eye on that, because that's not that I expect a bunch of drunks to go to a carnival, but you, I'm sure, emphasized, but make sure that the clientele is appropriate. Because that's I've had one person last year mention that. Well, it was 2 years ago. Said, well, what if somebody gets drunk at the bar? And I said, well, let the police handle that. Don't worry about it, But that's not really been a problem, has it?
We had the first year, it went smooth. And we have our PD out there, their crew, and the COPs, of course, a lot of our event staff. We're constantly moving and going and monitoring. So I think that's kind of where we do it. So it's like any other day out there when we're at the plaza.
Right, exactly. And that's the point I'm trying to make. To bring it up, that no one needs to be concerned about the atmosphere. There's not going to be a rowdy atmosphere. This isn't Mardi Gras or the state fair or something like that. This is a family safe event. And that's
we definitely get that feel, I will say.
That's why I brought it up about the alcohol. If you're thinking, I'd like to go in the evening, but is it going to be a problem? But I promise you, those business owners are going to keep a sharp, extra sharp eye on that, because, civic duty and all this other stuff, but also they don't want their reputation ruined.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be, I'm just telling the audience that listens to this either now or later, this is something you can bring anybody, your family, bring mom, whatever, So, it's a great family event. And that's what I saw a lot of families. Aaron Ash says hello from Cleburne, Texas. I bet we get a lot of people from outside of Burleson that comes to this thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
Maybe Mr. Ash will get some Cleburne folks out there. Who knows? It reminded me when I was a kid, they'd have these traveling carnivals, and they'd set up in like a grocery store parking lot and all this other stuff. And I was really, really glad to see you all do it again, because it's like very nostalgic for a lot of us older folks. You didn't see a lot of those places after the 90s or whatever, and we didn't really maybe participate very much. But it really took me way back to the day and all this, and so I really am glad y'all do it. As far as other things this summer besides Hot Sounds, what else you got going on? Anything in particular at the Brick and all that? Y'all do the Brick stuff, right?
Yes.
Right, I thought so. Okay, you got. I see y'all's postings for various sports leagues. I know that it's time to sign up for adult sports, and I believe, if I'm correct, on this Sunday you have some sort of specialized soccer outing. Yeah,
we do. Yeah, So that one's one that we love. We've done it once, so this will be the second time around doing it. So that one's coming up. We also have our Camp BTX, which used to be called our Summer Fun Camp. We're rebranding. With the rebranding comes, we are trying to just revive this camp and make it a whole new environment for the kids. That's 11 weeks over the summer, and that's housed at the Brick.
I like to specify what I meant by specialized. This soccer event is for children with disabilities.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Physical disabilities primarily, or anything that is defined as disabilities?
Any.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. Well, see, that's another thing I like about what the Brick does. They do a lot of stuff for people that in other circumstances may be excluded from participating. And I really think that y'all's reaching out to that community is, again, a real star for Burleson. Yeah. And that's a very nice rec center.
It is. It is. And we are trying to offer more programming for everyone. So all abilities, from, our young elementary all the way up, to our seniors. And so our disabilities, a special needs group, and we are always open to ideas. If anyone's like, you know what, this is a gap in our community. Why aren't we seeing any of this? We want to fill that gap. So we're open to feedback and open to hearing ideas and anything that we can do to help serve all the populations of our community.
Well, I'm trying to think of who has not been served by the Brick and the Recs, Park and Recs people, because part of my radio show is I get all the postings on Facebook and I print them off, and I'll say, hey, this week at the Brick they're doing X, Y, and Z, that kind of thing. And so I'm a lot more in tune with what's going on, and y'all seem to have a lot of stuff going on for a lot of people. I'm trying to think who's being left out. I can't think of any. I mean, because usually, again, the special needs community is often, well, you know, they're not going to be able to participate because they're not physically able. And they said, no, we're going to make this work.
Yeah.
We're going to make it work.
Yeah, and we want to, you know, we want to have the special needs programming, but we also want anyone who has all abilities to be able to attend any of our programming too. And if that means we need to work with that individual or flex a little bit of how we're doing it, we're open to doing that.
See, what I'm envisioning y'all, both of y'all and probably your colleagues sitting around a table said, hey, let's do this and hey, let's do that. Is that what really how it works?
Yeah.
You know, just sit around and say, hey, I think this would be a good idea, or this other community has this idea, or somebody suggested we do this and all this. I know there's like, July, you have a boat race in the
Boat
dances.
Yeah.
You know, that's... You know, that's somebody I can imagine somebody bringing that up around the table and going, okay.
How are we going to do that? What's that going to look like? Yeah, a new one coming on is our duck derby. So that's brand new. And we have gone through so many iterations trying to plan this thing. Like, how is it going to work? What is it going to look like? What's the location?
Well,
but somebody has an idea, and then we start, you know, wheels start turning.
So it sounds like you have a pretty open environment to make suggestions. And you know, collaborative thing, and you're encouraged to participate as opposed to here's what we're going to do, so make it work. Sounds like you have a very open process.
Yes,
and that's a good thing.
We do not want to be stagnant in anything that we do. If we've always done something and it's successful and it's working, then let's keep doing it.
Well, those concerts work.
They do. They do.
Yeah. And then you've had a couple other citywide events. Like the last time I remember, October. Don't you have something in Founders Day or something like that, or is that something? It's been a while. Yeah.
Founders Day is one that we partner with the Heritage Foundation, and then in October we have our big Boo Bash, our Halloween event that we do. We're just coming off of our Bunny Days event that we do out at Chisenhall, the big egg hunt for the community.
Big. Yeah. Oh, those real eggs, by the way. I did miss that one. So is it real eggs or the little plastic ones?
Plastic.
Yeah, good. That's good. Yes. All right, good for you.
Another large event we have coming up that registration actually just opened up this month is our Be Healthy Run. We host that one starting off at the plaza and it ends at the plaza, but that one is in September and registration did open up. So we're super excited to get everybody registered and get out there for a run.
10K. Yeah.
I have a hard time driving 10K. I can't imagine running it, you know.
You can walk. That works too.
Okay. If somebody listening to this or just out in general has an idea, how could they get a hold of you?
So, I mean, our contact information is online, but email, call.
Stop by the Brick.
Okay. Is that where y'all work out of?
Yes, we are all housed at the Brick.
Okay, that's good. So if, I middle of the night I come up with something, I can email you and say, hey, how about this? I don't know. I don't know what it'd be because I think you got it pretty well covered. All the major sports are covered and all that. I haven't played softball for a while, but I did with the city, run the city leagues and all this other stuff. And I had a great time. I always thought it was well run. I always tell people that put on these events, and I'm sure you're going through this right now. You're behind the scenes and you're seeing all these little loose wires coming undone, and you're like, "Oh my Lord, is this gonna make things worse or difficult?" But once it starts, it's all good. I used to do the homecoming parades with the high school, and it looked like chaos for like 2 hours prior. But then once they start going out the back gate, it just lined up, and all the kids cared about was the candy.
Yeah,
and so I'm just saying, it's like I always joke about it being like a bride at the wedding. They see all the details and freak out, and everybody else sees a nice wedding. And that's what's going to happen here. It's going to work great,
Usually it's nice to just step back and watch it all unfold, and the smiles and the happiness, and
knowing you had a big piece of that. That was me with the parade. It's like, I hated putting it together. Taking the registration because there's always these last minute snafus and all this other business. But once it was going, and particularly when my kids are small and they're participating in it, I think I could do this again.
Yeah.
But it's
what keeps you going.
Yeah. Yes. But I feel for you because I know what's going to happen is between now and then next week. and it is in a week, right?
Yes.
You know, and there's going to be this last minute glitch, and but it's going to be great. It's going to work out, and I don't know. Only the grumpiest of grumps would point that out to you. The rest is like, oh, it's okay,
Well, we'll do rehash after. There's always things where you're like, man, we could have done that better, or next year we could do this to just amplify the event even more.
And it's
Maybe
nice
so.
because I think we can talk through it and we help each other out along the way to where you don't feel like that, like high stress. It's just like, okay, let's get through this. And
honestly, I couldn't tell anything that was amiss. I couldn't think, well, maybe this could have been better, or maybe they should have had this. I didn't think. It didn't even occur to me.
Well, we appreciate that.
Because it was great, and I don't know. It's a lot more enjoyable living here. I mean, the people of Burleson always been pretty good, and the parents I dealt with as a teacher, 99% of the time was a very positive experience. And the 1% I don't think about, but I'm just saying it's always been a good town of people, but now it's got a lot of stuff to offer. A lot, particularly for families, that have young children.
Yeah, our department, it's quality of life.
yep.
Is there any spot of land you want to put a park in? Is that how this works? Oh, you drive by, that's an empty lot.
It's not quite that easy, and that's the other side of the house, so I'm not going to try and act like I know how that process works.
Oh, no, but that's that's another thing is that, well, there are these micro parks. I like that. There's here's a piece of land otherwise just grow weeds, and it's too small for anything else, but you could put some playground equipment there, and you have a little neighborhood park. I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, we'd really like everyone to have a park within a 10-minute walking radius. That's the goal. So from your house, 10 minutes to get to a park.
Well, there's one off of Renfro, and it's like 2 blocks off of Renfro, and I can't remember. It had a name, but I wouldn't pay attention. But
Is it Cindy, maybe?
I think it was Cindy Park, maybe. And it was some handful of equipment, and there was like a couple of moms with their kids there. And I thought, and that's what makes a community worth living in.
Yeah.
You know?
Being able to get outside with your kids. Yeah.
Now, I know, I called her my friend Victoria because I've known her for 22 years now. But, Councilwoman Johnson.
Yes.
She's a big fan of y'all's.
And we love her too.
We've talked about this more than once. I think of all the things the city does, this is closest to her heart. I mean, she has to worry about the streets and the police and everything else, but this, I think this is more like an act of love for her. So
Yeah. I mean, really, we get to bring people together, and we're providing a space where our community can gather and make connections amongst ourselves. Even at the Brick, we've seen so many little micro communities form from our regulars in the morning, building those bonds and connections. That means so much to people, and why they choose to live in Burleson.
Y'all open pretty early, don't you, at the Brick?
Yes, 4:30.
Are you there at 4:30?
I am not. No.
I can't imagine.
We've both worked the shift, though.
Yes, we have for a good time, and then we.
Oh
moved
goodness.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that. You must really be serious about your workout to get up at 4:30 or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're lined up at the door, ready to go.
Yeah.
I just, are you kidding me? It's like people that get up at 4:30 to pray, and I'm like, God listens 24/7, right? But that's their thing, and I'm not going to dissuade them from doing it. But whatever.
Yeah.
Josh, have you run the radio stuff here? A friend, Rich Hooper, over at 88.3 The Journey out of Keene, is back in country. He goes all over the place, but he's promoting this show on his show. So hopefully people that hear his morning show will be directed to hear this either on my platform here on Facebook and YouTube, or on the radio station later, or whatever. Or it's on, and it'll also be on Apple and Spotify about 24 hours from now. It comes on about 10:30 the next day. So if people want to hear this, most people hear this show or see it on their time, not in real time. They'll see it, I look at the numbers one day after I do it, that's not so great. And then I see it about a week later, oh, that's a lot better than I thought. Because a lot of people will watch it maybe later on. And Rich will be directing people to do that. So that's very kind of him. Also on community radio, this show will be on at 6 o'clock tonight, and it will be on at 1 o'clock tomorrow on community radio, which is on Live 365 and TuneIn. And so I know a lot of people have the TuneIn app, but the Live 365 app will do you community radio, TX, bang, there you are, and you listen to songs from my generation. I mean, right now I'm doing an 80s week, a lot of the hits from the 80s, so next week I got something else planned. I'll let that wait. Monday, I see Otto at our place, and he's going to talk about his new restaurant. He's going to talk about not just our place too, but also Gina's and all this other stuff. You know, Gina's was, it was an institution when I got here. I think it opened up in '72, and he still uses the same ovens, which you can't get anymore. So that's why his pizzas taste the way they do. They're so good because it's the old-fashioned pizza burning stove as opposed to just it's newer models or whatever else. Who else we got going on next week? I'm working on one for the 22nd. I don't really have one right now, or maybe I have somebody in mind. I usually don't like to throw their name out until we can be able to get confirmed, but we'll see what we got. All right, but anyway, Otto will be here Monday. Thank you, ladies, for coming, and thank you especially for what you do, not just for the carnival, but making this community worth living in. And it's very kind of y'all. I know you get paid to do it, but I know you get paid, but still, there are a lot of ways to make a living, and there's more to it than just that. This is something you bring your heart into. I could tell.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us on.
You bet. And just tell all your friends, I'm on the radio, or I'm on the podcast, all this other stuff. Anyway, y'all to finish off with what people need to know about the carnival. Where, what, why, whatever. About the tickets and such as that. Just kind of give us a nice summary, because a lot of people see the end of the show before they see the first of it. So, okay.
So the Honey Tour Carnival will arrive on Thursday, May 22nd, and run through Sunday, May 25th. The soft opening starts on Thursday at 5 p.m. We'll be marketing and sending out everything starting next week with all of the informations, the do's and don'ts, and of course all of our information will be on there. So if anyone has questions, we can help them out. But we'll have rides and food, and Hot Sounds will kick off on Friday. We'll have a lot of local vendors as well, Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll also have a lot of local entertainment on stage at the plaza.
And Nelson, what do you got?
I would follow that. I mean, you got to come check it out.
Ditto.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, it is. And it's for all ages, not just the kids. It's
right.
old coots, too. So there you go. Have some nice slow rides for us old men,
Don't get on the spinny ones.
No, I don't know. I loved the tilt-a-whirl when I was a kid, and I still get. Anyway, thank you, Josh, for everything.
Absolutely.
Now, you're going to go to this, aren't you, Josh? Doggone it.
Yeah, I'll be there.
You'll be there. Okay, good. Thanks for listening, guys, and we will see you Monday with Otto, and we'll talk all about Gina's, our place, whatever else is on his mind, and we'll see y'all later.
Thank you.